Hello, in this video I want to quickly talk about GPU mining server cases and if they are worth the price point that Octominer, the GPU Risers R8 cases, and MinerDude cases are at in terms of price point. Now, I'm not going to argue with you that these are phenomenally built cases for the most part. The quality is great. You have a good quality chassis, they're heavy duty, you can stack them, you can move them around. Some of them have hot swappable power supplies, so they make them really easy if you do have like a power outage, or if you need or a power failure, you need to swap out a PSU, or you want to load balance across 120 volt for some of these cases. Octominer and basically these other rebrands of Octominer offer great value in terms of like what you can do with the case, not to mention that it has integration with Hive OS. But what I want to really put attention on in this video is it worth the price point? And now these are all US dollars here, so it's about 700 US dollars for a minimum order quantity of 5, not including shipping or taxes or anything like that. So you might be paying upwards of $800 a case or even more. I'm not too familiar, but I just punched in minimum order quantity 5, shipped to Canada, and it's going to be charging me at least anywhere from $700 to $1,100 for shipping. So that alone, you're upwards of 4,000 US dollars plus tax and stuff. So it's a very expensive purchase in my eyes anyways. And now I think for large miners, Octominer can make a lot of sense, but what I'm mainly focusing is us, the smaller miners. We might have a couple of mining rigs, but we're not looking to spend, hundreds of thousands of dollars just on server cases. And that's where I like to look at other alternatives from China. For example, Alibaba is a great option now that I finally dipped my toes in. I got familiar with how do you place an order, how to use trade assurance so that you're not putting yourself in jeopardy of getting scammed. And that's one of I think the big stigmas you might have from ordering from China or Alibaba, is that you're worried like, oh, the quality is going to be terrible or something like that. And I've had probably the complete opposite experience. Of course, you want to be a smart buyer, buy from reputable sellers, make sure you're buying from someone that other people have experience with. So for example, I recently purchased this 8 GPU mining server case from Alibaba. I messaged one of the sellers. They had good reviews. I ordered through trade assurance, so I was protected in case there was an issue with my order. But everything, it worked really, really well. I couldn't have been more pleased with my purchasing experience. It arrived on time. It took about 2 weeks between when I placed the order for it to arrive. I also didn't go with the fastest shipping option because I wanted to go for the most cost-effective kind of solution. And in the description of this video, I paid around $442 for basically the case and shipping, and then after import taxes and fees, it worked out to about 500 US dollars, and I ended up with a nice chassis, 8 cooling fans. I had a manual fan speed controller built in with it, 4 gigs of memory, 64 gigabyte SSD. Like, these are not groundbreaking specs, but neither are what you're getting in a Octominer, a GPU Risers R8 case. Like, yes, you're getting the power supply, you're getting basically hot swappable here is basically an extra selling point. But the main question I always have to ask myself, is it worth the price difference? And based off of everything that I've had experience now, I've had 2 of these Chinese server cases, and then I have a couple other which were different brands, not as good quality as like the Lian Li, but they've all worked good enough for me. And that's kind of what I'm looking at, is I'm looking at a good enough solution, because I know from experience dealing with multiple computer pieces of hardware and stuff that eventually you will have parts fail. It's just a matter of also like, how much is the original part going to cost? How much is it going to cost to replace? And does it make sense at the end of the day to go with one solution over another? And as we've seen in a lot of videos, like there are mining farms, I don't remember his name, maybe it's like DJ Django or something, like he had a large farm where basically the temperatures in his working environment went well above like 40-50 degrees Celsius, and you had a lot of server case fans die. Red Panda Mining had a lot of server case failures on these Octominers as well. So we're not eliminating, by spending almost double the price, we're not eliminating hardware failures. And that's where, as a buyer and someone who's running a mining operation, we need to do research in ourselves and figure out, is it actually cost effective to spend $1,000 on one case, or can we spend $500 on another case from Alibaba? Takes maybe a little bit longer for it to ship in, but for $500 savings, I think it makes a lot of sense. Now, when I ordered one of my cases, it came with a defective fan. So I had to go and contact the seller and mention like, hey, there's an issue here. So that means I need a fan replacement immediately, pretty much. And I think that I'm probably like, I can't say because haven't ordered a ton of these, but I am certain you are going to run into defects in the future. But then I've also had situations where I order it, everything works out of the box. And I think it's pretty much similar with a lot of these. It's that for the most part, they're going to work until there's an issue. Then you still have to make that initial contact of, okay, I need a fan replacement. Either way, you have to get a fan replacement. But when you're spending $500 less, it's not hard to justify like, okay, yeah, I can spend another $100 if I need a new motherboard. But for the most part, you contact the seller and they'll help you figure out, okay, I can get you a replacement. This is a factory defect if you have that at all. But I haven't had that happen to me yet. But either way, basically what I'm really trying to say here is that you want to be very conscious with how you are spending your money. Every extra dollar spent goes towards your ROI. Now, let's just use hardware cost of the mining case and not the GPUs itself. You look at an Alibaba case, it's about $500 US. That's going to cost you about 2 months worth of mining at the current rate. And we're not even talking about ETH proof of stake, but that's going to have a huge effect. You spend $700 on a server case, you're looking at an additional month worth of mining, which in, a bull market might not make a big difference, right? That could be 10, 15 days worth of mining, not a big difference at all. And the value proposition of like an Octominer could be better. But in the current state where every couple $100 equates to months of mining, I think how you spend your money really should matter. And not to mention the GPU miner R8s, like wow, double the ROI time on just the base of your rig. This doesn't even account for your GPU mining hardware itself. And this is where I find it really hard to justify spending $1,000 on a GPU mining server case. I'm going to wrap up the video there. In summary, my thoughts are get comfortable, contact some of these Alibaba sellers if you are looking to expand. I'm personally not expanding right now with the ETH proof of stake kind of basically right around the corner potentially. It may or may not happen. I'm betting that it is. But basically, you can follow the link. I'll even link the seller I bought from. I'm not affiliated to them in any way, but you can go ask some questions. You can price out 65 millimeter spacing. I would like a 2000 or a 2500 watt 240 volt PSU. I want 8 fans. I want a fan controller. How much is this going to cost? They'll quote you probably around $250 US for the case and maybe $250 for shipping. So $500 US shipping for a pre-built, or there'll be a cheaper shipping option if you go with one of these folding cases. But either way, I highly implore you, if you are building a mining farm, do some more research. Take a look at some of these Chinese options on Alibaba. Of course, make sure they're a verified seller. Always order through trade assurance. Yes, it does add a couple extra dollars to your order. I might have spent an extra $10, $15 on the order through trade assurance. However, it's assurance, and you're basically buying insurance. If you get effed by the seller, you've got insurance. You can get your money back eventually. So I felt a lot more comfortable ordering that way. And if you buy from, I think, the same person I bought from, you should not have any issues. But basically, in this video, I just wanted to break down that you need to look at everything in terms of an ROI and a value proposition. You're getting pretty much the exact same things in this Lian Li case. Of course, it doesn't have the Octominer brand on it. However, when you look at the price, the performance, because most of us are already running 240 volt at home, like the value proposition just made a lot of sense to go with the Lian Li cases over basically your GPU risers, even if they're US based. And yes, they say they're warehoused in the US. However, they're importing a lot of this stuff from China. So it's all coming from the same place. You just have to ask yourself, do you want to spend $1,000 or $500 to get the job done? That's just how I look at it. Anyways, I'm going to wrap up the video there. I think I've covered enough of my thoughts. And of course, this is just my opinion. I'm not saying don't go out and buy an Octominer or R8 or Miner Dude. All I'm saying is to take a moment, step back, take a look at what's the value proposition. What's a motherboard worth? Because if you want to build open air rigs, you can buy lots of like 100 piece of even just risers from Alibaba, $500 US. $5 a riser. These are good quality. I've bought stuff from here before. Or you're like, you know what? I'm a small miner. I don't want to buy 100 pieces. You go someplace like Aliexpress, phenomenal. Same deal. You just hit add to cart. You've got buyer protection and everything. You can buy these riser, or no, they're not riserless, but they have like these little USB connectors on the bottom. You can hook up 8 GPUs. It works super, super well. I've used these specific motherboard combos. They come with the cooler, the CPU. Now all you have to do is add 4 gigs of DDR3 memory and SSD, and you're on your way to having a really good base to an open air mining frame. And it costs you the fraction of a cost of pretty much any of these large North American providers. Because even if you look at their motherboards or riser solutions, they're significantly more expensive than what you can get yourself when you do a little bit more research and order stuff from China. But anyways, I've wrapped up the video there. If you have any questions, if you've bought any of these server cases, make sure you leave your thoughts in the comment section. If you bought stuff from China, let me know what your experience was. How much did you pay? If you bought some of these Octominers, let me know what you like about it, and also share how much you paid, because I think that's what's really important, is figuring out, is the product good quality? Yes, but then how much, like, how does this work out in the numbers? But anyways, thank you so much for listening. I hope you got something of value from this video. If you did, make sure you leave a like, and otherwise, obviously, leave a comment. I want to hear from you. Until next video, take care, guys.